Alright, I'm going to attempt to do this a second time. I attempted to record this video once already, but I did not have my mic enabled in OBS, or the game audio for the game I was playing actually, so that's fun. But hey, I'm not gonna let that stop me. Well, I mean, I wasn't going to, and then I had hiccups for like 20 minutes after, so I just... Like, I've been trying to get this video out and just like talk, but like life is not wanting me to do this. It's like some kind of conspiracy. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. I just wanted to talk about the social media ban, and it's like come into effect in Australia. It's here now as of the 10th of December, though it is the 11th on the time I am recording this right now. Yeah, it's here, and after a day, it seems to have only affected like a handful of people. Like the terms of service have changed, but like I know like a lot of young people that it's not really affected. Like it's affected some people. By and large, like the AI has either flagged everybody as an adult or it's just taking a long time to roll out. Plus, not every social media platform has been like included in the list of things that need to like be like addressed, right? But again, I think it's just still like they're still figuring out like how they're like rolling it out. I kind of wanted to stage this conversation in like tiers though, like, or I guess like dot points of like how I'm gonna approach this. I don't have a real script, but there are some key points I wanted to touch on. The first one is just that, you know, like I wanted to touch on what it is, what the social media ban actually is, and like what its goal is, that sort of stuff. The next thing I wanted to talk about is why it's being rolled out, and yeah, that's, you know, it's important to know why. And then I also wanted to talk about how, which is honestly the more important part of today's conversation. Yeah, we could definitely do it better, but we'll get to that point. We'll get there. And then lastly, I want to like actually talk about just like I guess my thoughts on the whole situation, like what should we be doing differently? Should we be doing this differently? That sort of deal. So with all that in mind, let's just like kind of jump right into it. The first thing I said before was like, what is the goal, right? Like, yeah, what's like the purpose? Why are we even doing this in the first place? Like, why do we need a social media ban? Well, if you were to ask, like, the E-Safety Commission, they would say that it has to do with, like, keeping kids safe from, like, cyberbullying and stuff like that. But, no, like, kids are gonna get bullied no matter what. Like, this isn't really doing much to help in that way. All this is doing, remember, is, like, keeping kids off of social media. Like, yeah, you will, like, prevent, like, your kids from, like, being cyberbullied if they're not online, right? Like, woo, congratulations. But first of all, that's not like the biggest issue that's even at hand here that they could focus on. It's such a token issue. That's like, no, that's not really why you're doing this. We know that. Realistically, if you're gonna like talk at this from like a more like holistic point of view, it's partially cyberbullying, but it's also in part just like we're not doing like enough to keep kids like engaged, social, and educated, right? Like kids are on social media a lot, but the issue that really like kind of crops up is like short form content and like AI basically ruining like critical thinking skills, literacy rates, that sort of deal. You know, like the measurable things that we can address. But the government didn't really mention any of that. So I guess that's not why they're doing it, but like I can't think of like any other reason why you would actually want to like do this other than obviously like greedy ones, but we'll get to that again later. One is the goal is to prevent kids from being bullied online, so they're banning them from using the internet altogether. They'll still be able to use Google. Sometimes maybe. Apparently they're thinking about adding certain Wikipedia articles and stuff to the list, which, you know, is a whole nother can of worms. Like, how do you stop kids from being cyberbullied? I don't know, ban Wikipedia. You know, but again, we'll see how the list expands and we'll see if they double down on that. And it's just something that's been floated around by the safety commissioner. Now, we've talked about, like, what it is and why it's being rolled out, but we need to talk about how it's being rolled out, you know? Like, how are we doing this? Like, how do you enforce a generation-wide social media ban? Like, you know, that's just, it's a huge task, right? Like, when you think about it, you're like, okay, we have basically every young person in the country using the internet, and like their parents use it. Everyone's using the internet. Everybody, for one reason or another. Even grandma uses it for words with friends, you know, like that sort of deal. So how do we just take everyone under the age of 16 year old, identify them, categorize them, and then remove them from the internet? Now, the government will say our goal is to, like, you know, not necessarily to do that, but so much as to, like, make it so that companies are taking reasonable steps to prevent them being on there. And if they get on there, there won't be any, like, criminal penalties or anything. But if they're taking the reasonable steps, then they won't get fined. And that's, you know, pretty much the gist of that. But that still doesn't answer the question, like, how do you do this? So, because the onus is entirely on the third-party corporations to, like, police themselves, their solutions have basically just been like, yeah, we'll just use AI, we'll scan it, you know, like, that's fine. AI solves everything, right? Like, it's never been wrong about anything, ever. YouTube 2025 playback, oh my gosh. Like, it's not a smart solution, but it is their solution. Yeah, I think that is the worst possible, like, solution, you know? Like, it's not gonna work. It's gonna kick a bunch of, like, adults off and stuff. And it's like, okay, so what's the contingency then? Let's say the AI flags you as an adult as being a minor. How do you rectify this? You give them a photo of your face with a government ID, and the AI scans to see if it's legit. Yep, you heard me. They're planning on, like, doing ID scans with your face as well, and just uploading that information directly to a third-party database. Like, not even... not even, like, an actual, like, government-owned database. No, you get to upload your government ID to just some random company that YouTube hired, or some random company that TikTok hired. Don't you think that maybe, just maybe, that might not be good for, like, public security, or corporate cybersecurity, or national security? Don't you think that, like, this raises way more problems than it solves? Like, there's gotta be a better way to do this. And there's actually a lot of better ways of doing this, and I'll touch on that soon, actually, but, like, the fact that they're doing it this way is just evidence that they have no clue what they're talking about or why they're doing it, really. Like, they're just like, we're gonna do this ban, yeah, and it's gonna help all the kids, and it's just like, no, it's not, and you're not doing it right, even if you were trying that. Like, I'm not even talking about whether or not it's a good idea to, like, police it right now. I'm just talking about, like, the methods they're going about doing it are so, like, backwards. Like, it's useless. You can't reasonably expect the AI to actually do anything about it, and the fact that that counts as reasonable steps is only, like, the reason that counts is because you're asking them to police themselves. Don't do that. No, 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 no. You know what? Actually, while we're on it, I'm going to talk about it, why we can roll it out better, and how we could do it. Like, I'm going to stop complaining. I'm going to give you a solution. So we have this thing in Australia called MyID, right? It's linked to our MyGov services, and it has basically all of our information on us, right? Like, if you have access to your MyID and your MyGov, you can tell if you're an adult or not, because they probably have your tax file number, your, like, Vic Roads ID, your Medicare card, your entire Medicare history, etc., etc., etc. And all of these are lodged within, like, a document verification system, vaguely known as DVS. I can't get too much into that for obvious reasons. But, like, all that information is accessible for the government to, like, look into at a moment's notice through that system. So why not create a separate system that's linked to it? Right? Like, why not just use the information you already have? Create a second system, like a verification system, like your digital ID, and then, like, call it, like, My Internet or something like that, or, like, Internet ID. Something really simple, straightforward that could, like, the people could just recognize and apply for. And if you're an adult, you get, like, this, like, you apply to that system, and you verify it with your MyGov details, and again, this is all held by the government, details they already have, and it stays within their databases. They just double check it to see if you're an adult, and then they give you, like, a little login token thing, and you just upload that to third parties. And all third parties would have to do is create a system where they accept the login. Like, it would be really easy for these corporations to follow. It would allow the government to do its weird tracking thing and track everybody. Because, look, let's be honest, this is more about what it's about. The government just wants to know what you're doing at all times. But yeah, that's just, they can do that. They can get a win-win out of this, you know? All while, like, you know, not threatening the security and identity of everybody in the country to third parties that have no clue what they're doing and no reason to have a clue what they're doing, you know? Like, it's just, they have options, you know? Like, that's just one solution. One that I came up with off the top of my head this morning when I was like thinking about it and thinking about this video. And I'm stupid. I'm really dumb. Like, my greatest achievement is like coding rock, paper, scissors using like TypeScript, you know, like, or like making a small shell script to make my Minecraft server work, you know? Like, I can't do anything tech-wise. But I know enough to know that that is probably that's like a way easier problem to solve than, yes, how do we categorize the entire population using nothing but publicly available advertising data? Like, no, that's that's stupid. It's like actually so stupid that I can't even believe I'm saying it. Like, yeah, of course it's a hard problem to solve. You've made a hard problem that you didn't need to solve. But... I love how beautifully stupid the government can be sometimes. It's so like almost poetic that like the government's in the state it's in. Like it's that is what it is, right? Like, I'm not trying to get too political with this video. Like, my thoughts on this are more about just like the general incompetence of the rollout. But I will give you a few thoughts on like the situation at hand and like what's going on, right? The way I see it is that there are, in fact, like, different issues with social media, and more importantly, like, short-form content and AI in classrooms, right? Because I think the large issue that, like, presents to kids right now is that they don't have opportunities, they don't have places in real life to really exist and explore, and they've replaced their education with ChatGPT and YouTube essays, you know, like that's it. That's like, and I'm not talking about writing YouTube essays, I mean like listening to them instead of reading a book, you know, and that's if you even went that far. Like I said, people just use ChatGPT for everything now. And you can say it's the way of the future or anything like that, but what you can't, you know, shunt away into the little corner and hide under the rug is the fact that it is destroying literacy rates. Seriously, like, go look up in, like, any major first world country, the, like, literacy rates since, like, COVID and ChatGPT 2. Like, watch the sharp decline. Like, there was always a bit of a decline once the internet came out, because, yeah, people would rather watch YouTube and stuff like that, but at least if you're watching, like, a whole YouTube video, like, it's something. It's something substantial. You're listening to, like, an idea somebody's communicating, you know? But, I mean, it's not perfect, but, I mean, it definitely is something. But, yeah, I don't know, there's a lot of things. Kids aren't getting, like, read to at night because, like, both parents are in, like, home, and parents have been all raised on the internet, too, and it's, like, this cycle of stuff that we don't know how to really solve. Like, if there is a solution to this issue, it has to be complex, holistic, and multifaceted. It has to address a lot of these issues, kind of all at the same time. Definitely not ignoring them, though. Like, everything here needs to be addressed. We need to stop allowing AI to basically run classrooms. We need to, like, take kids off of social media to an extent, you know? Like, we can't have them just brain rotting on TikTok when they should be doing anything else, you know? I'm not even like being like, oh my gosh, them damn kids. I'm like 25, I'm young, I'm just aware of what literacy is because I learned how to read when I was like a child. I'm aware of how important that's been in my life, and I think it's bad that you wouldn't have that. I don't read nearly as much as I used to, and I don't think that's necessarily a problem, but like, you should read here and there, you know? Informational stuff sometimes, just novels occasionally, you know? Even short ones. Kids should be engaging with that stuff so they can, like, follow through on, like, basic things. You need to be able to communicate, you need to be able to read, you need to be able to write for just about anything in life. And lacking that is going to make your life way harder. And civilization kind of needs people to be educated to, like, innovate, grow, and continue. Like, am I silly? Like, that's like kind of the reason why we're as well off as we are as in Australia, right? We had like a lot of high-skilled people like doing stuff. We have a lot of really high-quality healthcare and doctors and stuff. Those people need to read. Yeah, a lot of our economy is based on like oil and stuff, and yeah, that's great, but like that is a simple economy. That is one that will just nuke itself at some point if we run out of resources. That's it. You know, like, Australia needs diversification and complex industry to be able to, like, continue. And we might lose that, you know? We might actually lose that, and that'd suck. I'm not saying that what Australia is doing is a good thing, or even the right way to do it. In fact, I'm actually saying quite the opposite. It is not the right way to do things. There are so many better avenues they could take if this is really what they wanted to engage with. And they could use better rhetoric. They could use better ideas to justify what they're doing, because there are real problems that could be solved while they still get on the edge that they want. But that's not happening. It's not the world we live in. It's deeply troubling and upsetting. Because we have an opportunity here to basically give and take, you know, like, gain something social from the government while giving them something else in return. And they're kind of blowing it. They're just doing it in the worst way possible. Everyone's gonna work around it because nobody wants to give the government, you know, everything. Sorry, no one wants to give, like, third parties everything the government has access to. It's just not necessary. It's really, truly not necessary for, like, YouTube to, like, pay, like, a third-party data broker to, like, hold your ID and face scan that they claim to delete and definitely won't, and we'll get data leaked immediately. Like, that's stupid. Everyone knows how stupid that is. Everybody. I don't think I've talked to somebody, like, that's, like, heard about this and has thought, wow, that's really well thought out. I'm so glad they're doing it. No. That's not the case. We need to fix things, like, bad and quickly before it, like, just throws the country into chaos. Because I haven't even begun talking about how dangerous this is. Like, you losing your ID is terrible. Like, and I'm not talking about just misplacing it. I mean, like, identity theft, fraud, and compromised accounts. To anyone that had, like, you know, went through, like, the Optus crisis, you know, like, how's lodging your taxes going? Do you enjoy sitting on the phone for 4 hours to contact the ATO just to have your account unlocked for 24 hours so you can lodge a tax return? What if you have a small business? Do you enjoy doing that so you can get your, like, your requirements set out so you can then log into your business portals in your actual name? No! No, you don't! No, imagine if, like, the load times on that were, like, 30 times the size. The government would implode every July. I cannot begin to stress how bad this is if something goes wrong. And it will go wrong. Eventually it will if we don't do something. Like, I'm not calling for a cease to this ban. In fact, I think there are some points that you might want to address with it. Like, this could be a world that I don't necessarily agree with, but one that I could, like, understand living in. We just need to, like, actually do something about it. I've already, like, you can message the eSafety Commissioner, and I'll leave a link to that in the description below, because, like, you should message the eSafety Commissioner and be like, hey, what are you doing? Could you, like, do this better? And give solutions, give ideas, like, actually get messaging, because guess what? Like, we could say things, they kind of have to listen. They'll ignore, like, 1 or 2 of us, but, like, if, like, 20 people send in a message, that's already being like, oh my god, okay, it's starting to get some traction. Tell your friends too, tell anybody, just, like, this needs to be addressed. So please, 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 please message the Safety Commission. Just be like, hey, yeah, could you, like, not give our IDs to third parties? Could we just, like, keep this all in-house? Can you make, like, a system to do that? Because if enough voices say it, they'll listen. You know? And that's a world, like, a world that's better for them, and that's a world that's better for us. Literally, everyone wins from this situation. That's pretty much all my, like, 2 cents on the matter. You pretty much know everything I know about it now, and what I think about it. Thank you all for listening if you stuck by those rebels for this long. I know it's very complainy, but, like, seriously, if you have, like, the time, it takes like 10 minutes, just message the eSafety Commission. Tell them that, like, what they're doing is a little silly, and tell them there are ways to fix this. Just let them know that. Anyway, I appreciate you all watching, and thank you. I'll see you next time.